All right. Welcome, everyone. Today is Monday, November 3rd, 2025. It's currently 7:01 p.m., and I am calling this regular meeting of the Philomath City Council to order. On tonight's agenda, we will have two special presentations. First, we will recognize and honor those members of our community who have completed the required 7 out of 9 Philomath Citizens Academy. Okay. Um, Citizens Academy sessions, and then we'll get a presentation about Maxtivity from their executive director, Sarah Lynch. Then we'll have public comment in case anyone would like to comment from the public. Then we'll have our consent agenda, and then just as a heads up, we are going to switch things around a little bit after that, and we're actually going to have our management report and first quarter financials. We're going to move those in front of new business so that Mike can leave. And then we'll have new business, which includes talking about our vacancy on the Planning Commission, discussing this year's If I Were Mayor contest kicking off, talking about the upcoming Philomath Light Parade, and then we will get our quarter one report of our strategic plan from the city manager, and then ending with a contract agreement for environmental cleanup. And then we have two proclamations, one about Veterans Day and one about violence and denouncing violence. I guess that's not, I don't know why I left out that keyword. And then we'll wrap up with council reports. And then just as a reminder to the council and the members of the public, after that, we will ask any remaining members of the public to excuse themselves so we can convene an executive session. With that, can we have a roll call by our city recorder?
Jessica Andrade.
Present.
Diane Crawford.
Here.
Spencer Irwin.
Present.
Brent Casey.
Present.
Teresa Nielsen.
Here.
Rich Salsa.
Present.
Christopher McMorrin.
Present. Wonderful. Okay, so first up, we have recognition of those members of the community who have successfully completed the Citizens Academy. And you have an agenda item summary in the packet here that gives a little bit more information about this year's session. I think from all accounts, this was a wonderful success this year, especially given that the past 2 years it's had to be canceled due to lack of interest. And this year we had 12 different folks who did the 7 out of 9 to get the certificate, but there were more people that dropped in for a few sessions, but maybe didn't do the whole thing. And there were a few changes made this year, which you can see there around removing the pre-registration requirement, making it a lot more casual and maybe less intimidating. People can come learn about the things they want to learn about, and did a lot of outreach and promotion, which I think we can see bared fruit. I was able to go to the Citizens Academy finale last Thursday, where we had a bunch of different presentations from the different nonprofits in Philomath, and I think it was a great way to close things out and see all the amazing work going on in our community. And before we recognize those who successfully completed Citizens Academy, I definitely want to recognize our staff, especially Chris and Crystal, and Chelsea, sorry, and Mike. Okay, and anyone else employed by the city. Just because there's 9 different 2-hour-long sessions, which if you've ever taught or spoke or organized an event, that is a lot of organizing and coordinating and planning. And of course, thanks to all of the amazing community partners that participated, the school district, the fire district, the library, PCS, nonprofits, church, everyone who was involved. I'm really grateful that we have something like this in Philomath, and that we have such a great way to bring people into learning more about city government. So I want to do a round of applause for our staff. Okay, and then we're going to hand out some certificates. So I think how I'm going to try to do this, and we're going to see, is I'm going to have the certificates here in the middle, And then when I call your name, if you want to come up, take your certificate, and then just stay kind of standing in the little U shape here so we can get a picture with everyone at the end. So, I don't know. Someone? Okay. Okay. So let's see. I think first is Mark Files here? No. Okay. I need to sort out the folks who aren't here. Oh, thank you. Okay. Helen Forrestal. Thank you very much. Congratulations. And there's that for you. All right.
Does this mean?
Oh, yes. This means, I think, yes, Amanda Polly. Thank you. All right. James Rodell. Yeah, just if you want to just line up here, we're going to do a group picture, you know.
I'll get out of here.
Okay. Oh, and I think, yes. So then Alba Sutherland. Thank you very much. Okay, Jane Sherwood. Kimball Soy.
Joy.
Thank you very much. And then I don't see Lindy Young here, so we'll keep hers for later. Okay, stay there, and then we'll do a quick picture. Chris, do you want to get in the picture with me? You can get in there.
I'm not gonna photo.
Absolutely. Yeah, the taller approach is really dark.
Yeah, here, maybe if we can show off our search. Yeah.
Yeah.
If we can maybe squeeze Chris in the back here.
I just don't want to be visible.
One, two, three. Cheers.
Yeah, he's.
Thank you so much.
You all, congratulations.
I see future mayors and council individuals.
And how many of you did? Okay, so I want all of you to look around the room. I think, is that 4? So a majority of the members of the city council went through Citizens Academy, and even more than that are now members of the budget committee or planning commission or other groups. So as a thank you for taking the time to give up your evenings and go through Citizens Academy, I now encourage you to give up even more of your time and run for city council or get on a board or committee and help make your community a better place now that you're so knowledgeable about everything. So one more big round of applause for all of our graduates. Anything, Chris or Crystal or Chelsea or Mike?
No, thank you. Well, thanks to the city council for supporting the program. And again, to all the partners that helped out. That was terrific. Public Works is the only ones, I guess, that haven't been here. So Kevin and Gary did a great job with their session. I think they had the longest session, if I recall. They really captivated and kept people a little bit later, but it's always a pleasure. It's one of my favorite things to do at the Citizens Academy. I feel like I get to know all of you a little bit better, and knowing you, I have a better pulse on what's going on in the community and what residents are thinking. So I just appreciate your participation. And yeah, Crystal will be calling you here next month when all of these openings for the future committees. So no, thank you again. And I will just invite you, you're welcome to stay for the meeting as well, but also if you need to excuse yourself while we conduct the rest of the council business, that's fine too. So don't feel an obligation to stick around for another couple of hours if you got other things to do.
Yeah, no, thank you. Okay, then, as Counselor Nielsen just reminded me, we're not going to make Sarah stare me right in the eyes. So we're going to. You got this. Okay. Great.
Awkward enough, but.
Yeah, good call. Okay, so then, yes, next up, we have, getting back to our community organization presentations. We're very happy to welcome Sarah Lench, the Director of Maxtivity. So Sarah, take it away.
Thank you. Here, these slides. And Crystal and I are gonna, my new friend Crystal and I are gonna meld minds here. But I'm really excited to join you here to share a little bit about more about Maxtivity, tell you what we do, how we do it, and really, hopefully, time permitting, invite you all to dream with me as I talk about where we're headed in the future. So Maxtivity's mission is that we're a nonprofit community arts studio providing inclusive access to creative opportunities that strengthen the well-being, belonging, and vibrancy of Philomath and the broader region. Our programs are designed to amplify the unique assets while addressing the specific needs of the communities we serve, with a focus on lowering barriers for families and individuals marginalized by income, geography, race, language, ability, identity. So this is a new mission statement. It's recently been revised through our strategic planning process, and I just want to call out that we've added this kind of expanding our mission. You may have seen our tagline, Arts for All, but we sat and said, well, what's possible? What happens? What impact do we see when we expand access? And we really do see well-being and belonging and vibrancy expanding. And as a foreshadowing to where we're heading in the future, we also added and named the city of Philomath in our mission to really anchor into this place and being a partner in Philomath's future. So very quickly, we'll skip to our values that we ground as a compass our work in community and creativity, accessibility and authenticity, relationships and reciprocity, stewardship and sustainability. And our vision is creativity as a pathway to flourishing communities. There's actually a whole theory of change and theory of action for those of you who are really interested in that sort of work that I will be sharing at the Chamber Luncheon on November 19th. But really, I hope that you use these values as to hold me accountable, that when you experience Maxtivity come into our space or experience in our community, that this is what these are the values that you feel, and an invitation to join us in the vision for creativity is for flourishing pathways. But really getting into the meat of our programs, sharing, because I think a lot of people don't really understand the breadth of what we do. I'll jump right in and start with our community art studio on the next slide, which is what people often may be most familiar with us. We were started in 2017 by Lori Paul and actually started as a business. And it was really anchored in this idea of having a creative space for arts and crafts. And we didn't incorporate it as a nonprofit until 2019, but the community art studio still remains the heart of our work. It's a well-equipped space where people of all ages can explore fiber arts, led by a really amazing fiber artist who shares the last name with one of the councilmen here. Printmaking, ceramics, painting, mixed media. And we do this through open studio hours, community workshops, and reservations for special events and groups, including a special crafty senior hour on December 2nd with Jane Sherwood and Diane, really building off of that senior group that's come out of the inclusivity committee work. But also our youth programs, which is also probably what we're most prominent for, thinking about out of school opportunities. This is our after school clubs and our summer youth program, our summer camps, but also our new teen internship program. Really the heart of this work is we are not a fine arts academy. We're a space where young people can explore and grow their creative gifts, build meaningful relationships and a sense of belonging, and then use their creativity to help make the community a better place. And we do this, it's important to note that we do this through self-assessed need-based scholarships. About 3/4 of our young people who attend our after-school program are on scholarship right now, and we're seeing an increasing need across families. And we also provide free nutritional support, whether that's a snack or a lunch or a meal, depending on when we're there. And I want to thank the council because we are able to do this in part because of grants that include the social service grant that the city of Pullman provides us. And we build also and include community partnerships is the new element that I've added this year, where, for example, our sewing club is going to be designing their own stuffed animals, but also partnering with Quilts for Caring Hands, who creates quilts for youth in foster care, and our youth will use scraps from those quilts to make matching stuffed animals. But we have other community partnerships as well. So our artist residencies is not just folks coming into our space, but us going out into the community. And we do this mostly by employing local teaching artists, and I emphasize local. We have a roster of over 40 artists. Most of them live in Philomath or in the rural area outside of Philomath. And we've done residencies with Philomath and Blodgett Elementary, Philomath Youth Activities Club, and groups like Work Unlimited, as well as other partners around the region. And, I skipped this on my handout. Placemaking partnerships. So this is kind of a fancy word, but it's really our work to extend where we do work. Like this is the fish fence that we did at Philomath Elementary School. We've done art installations with Benton County Library. We also do partner on community events. We're thinking about how the arts can make a place come alive and reflect the assets and stories and identities of the folks who live here and strengthen pride in where you live. And we have some exciting placemaking partnerships that you can hear about on November 19th at the Chamber Luncheon. And this is our newest kind of growth area, and it's called community-led projects, but it's a fancy way of saying we've added an opportunity for social creative entrepreneurs to find a fiscal sponsorship home and use our studio space and materials to have grassroots initiatives that are for folks who share identities, lived experiences, or creative passions. It's really an opportunity to expand our mission without expanding our internal programs, but give a home to folks who are doing good creative work, and they can also have some back-end administrative support for us while also being able to receive grants and donations. So our current projects are La Raza Growing Juntos, Arts Care, which was formerly a project of Samaritan Health, and the Glory Kinetic Sculpture team. So our impact, just the numbers, we served over 8,000 people last year. We had 1,548 visitors to our studio. We had 67 outreach events with 48 community partners, and 71% of our youth served were navigating poverty. And we handed out $13,540 in scholarships. But really, we work at the scale of relationships. That 8,000 number isn't the depth and doesn't include the core of the folks whose lives have been significantly changed, and who both the youth and families who participate, but also the volunteers and the other folks that are connected to our community. And so really, I'd love at a different time to share some of the stories, and as we build relationship, I can share more of those. But this is an example of a note that a teen wrote to us on the back of a painting that she gave to me. To Maxtivity, thank you for being a safe place. So our operations, we do all this work on a really slim, lean operations. We have 3 staff with a total of 1.5 FTE. But we also, this gives us flexibility to execute work through contracted teaching artists, again, spanning employment opportunities for working artists in the area. But really the heart of what makes it possible is 121 volunteers who dedicate over 1,000 hours of volunteer work every year. And most of that is in our programming. And if you do the math, it ends up being about 1 to 1 hour of staff time to volunteer time in community-facing community-facing programs. And also, I would say 95% of the things, the tools, the supplies you find in our studio have been donated by the community. This includes Soft Star came in and donated really cool leather pieces last week and shoelaces. And then an individual came in whose mother had passed away, who was an artist, and donated all the art supplies that were sitting in their attic, right? And we take in the value of sustainability and stewardship, we take real strong responsibility in making good use of those materials, and if we can't, we find other good homes for them. And our finances, we do this all on a slim budget, $149,000, $742.41. But just to give you a breakdown, about 11% of that is cash donations, 58% of it comes from grants, 4% from special events, and 27% from earned income. So that's like registration fees for camps and after school programs, but also from folks who rent our studio space or people who are members of our community. So am I doing good on time? Oh my goodness, our future. This is what we came for. So this is the big debut. Only Brent's wife and our other team member and a handful of other folks who've been on this team have seen this. So we've been deep in a strategic planning process. I joined Maxtivity in April as the new executive director, and we've been through a lot of changes, a lot of growth, a lot of contraction, but it's all really exciting. And we've identified 3 strategic goals to guide our work for the next 3 years. And goal 1 is to elevate Maxtivity's brand identity and community impact stories. Like being here and sharing more about what we do, I found when I was talking to folks in the community, either they didn't know what we did or had a misconception of how we did it. Thought we were a for-profit paint your own pottery studio or an art supply store, which you can purchase art supplies there. But the fact that people didn't understand we're a nonprofit is pretty significant. And so we've done a lot of work. We made a slight name change to Maxtivity Creative Space for Community Arts, which also better reflects the breadth of what we do, not just arts and crafts. And also creating a new brand that kind of has a playfulness and impact and kind of signals a new direction. Goal 3 is to maximize the potential of our creative space. That's through things like we've done a vast improvement to the interior of our studio over the summer, and with the new logo and hopefully some investment from a grant partner, we're going to be a good partner to the Main Street beautification process of that targeted block, and our outside is going to better reflect the creative work that's going on inside. And we're not going to look like an abandoned bank anymore. That's to be sure. And we're going to get a new sign. But goal 2, this is really, when I was talking to folks in the community and like folks like Chris Workman, we used to run around and do a lot of outreach events, and most of them weren't focused on Philomath. You know, we weren't targeted in who we provided scholarships to for our summer camps. And there's a lot of sense of like, you guys are here in Philomath, but are you here with us? And I think that's a huge missed opportunity, because when we practice community arts, this is the community that we're serving, and rural outside of Philomath, right? Really Philomath being a home base to folks that are in Alsea and Eddyville and Blodgett and Summit who come here to find community. And we want to be a partner here. And so I have some ideas of how that might look, ways for us to strengthen and grow partnerships like groups. We did our first partnership with Philomath Community Services, and I'm excited to connect with Sharon to do more, because we serve a lot of the same families. And we do serve a lot of basic needs by providing nutritional support and a safe place for young creative kids to be after school who can't fit in some of the other programs that are available to them in this community, and find belonging oftentimes for the first time in our community. But really to continue to grow and learn and hear what you all need and how we can be a partner to you. So, how to get involved? The community can get involved by volunteering, donating, partnering, joining our board. Please join our board, especially if you really like fundraising or throwing turkeys, but also come create with us. Come and hang out with me and make art and learn more. We have a really cool project that we're unfolding this year, and it's called How Do We Weave Together? And it's using weaving as both a practice and an animating metaphor to think about how a diverse and growing community of different identities and backgrounds and stories can weave together and become more beautiful. And so come weave with me, or just come make art, or come tell me what you need Maxtivity to do to be a better partner to you all. So thank you all. I really appreciate this opportunity.
Well, you can just stay there for 1 second, just in case there's questions. I just have to say before we get into questions, this is always my favorite agenda item. So we got to do more of this. But thank you. That was wonderful, and we're really excited about having you here in Philomath, and I'm really excited about the direction that Nextivity is headed. So we really appreciate your partnership. With that, any questions or comments or discussion from the council?
That was an excellent presentation. It was very well done. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm back for more on the 19th.
There we go. The city manager.
I just have one comment before you go, and it'll be to be continued. I just wanted to look at that wall right there, that sad. Take a look at that white wall, and then you and I are gonna have a discussion later this week.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very much. All right, then next up, we have public comment. Is there anyone here who would like to give public comment? Anyone that's signed up online or no? Okay, thank you, all of you, as distinguished academy citizens, I don't know. Graduates, there we go. It's late.
Shelf and the
Anyone is welcome to give a comment during public comment. It's just any member of the public. Generally, yes, we can catch you on the mic. But do you have a card? You can fill it out after, but yeah, just when you're done, just fill out a card so we can get a record of who you are in our system for who gave public comment. So, yes.
We've got his information. So, okay.
That's right.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, well, okay, however, now I have to say my little spiel before you begin. Comments are limited to 3 minutes. A 3-second warning will be provided. Speakers should provide their name and city of residence or nearby. Those who attend public meetings are required to adhere to the council's rules and proceedings and observe the same standards of decorum as members of the council. Further, at the discretion of the presiding officer, members of the public who fail to observe these rules of procedure will be asked to discontinue speaking and will not be allowed to speak again for the remainder of the meeting. So with that very friendly greeting, please take it away. And our council president will just keep the timer going. She'll
Give you a
it.
30-second.
Yes.
James Rodell, I live in Great Hall Road, so hence close by, but not in the city.
Yes.
And I did have a sense from the speaker who was just here last Monday evening when we had that meeting at the, what do you call it?
Or,
The
yeah.
museum, thank you. I noticed one thing, and I used to be in Toastmasters. And I try to keep my voice at a level people can hear, but not go too much either way. But I think Toastmasters would be very beneficial for a lot of the folks who spoke that night, because there is a tendency to just lower your finishing a sentence. And that kind of gets, especially for folks who, I think I have good hearing, but I'm also way up there in years. It's kind of hard, it's no fun missing out on oftentimes the last part of a speech is where it all comes together theoretically, and if you miss that part of it, it's like, oh, what am I doing here trying to listen to this? So I just recommend that Toastmasters might be a wonderful organization to appeal to them to come in and see if they can round up folks here for a chapter. But I don't know if Oregon even has Toastmasters, does it? It does. Okay, I'm done.
Wonderful. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
You can stop over to Crystal. I know she has your info. So we'll let them take care of that. While they're doing that, I'm assuming no other public comments. Okay. Then on our consent agenda, we just have 2 different minutes. Is there a motion on the consent agenda?
I still move that we accept the minutes under the consent agenda for October 13, 2025, both with workstation notes and the city council.
Okay, it's been moved by Counselor Salsa, seconded by Counselor Andrade to approve the consent agenda. Is there any discussion? Oh, no, there's not. Would all those, sorry, I forgot we don't discuss that. Is all those in favor, please raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
I'm doing great.
No discussion.
All right, that passes unanimously. And now we will do, we'll start with our first quarter financials, which there's an updated packet you all should have received just before the meeting. That's a little bit, it just has some changes from what was in your it initially. Did you get that? Do you have?
Oh, I did not.
Oh, we have one for Brent.
Just minutes.
Yeah, just minutes. Yeah. Okay.
Cleverly here.
Yes.
Oh, maybe I.
Counselor. I'll still keep seated.
So, Mike.
Sure. So I was asked a few questions by Counselor Andrade, and caught me in a couple areas. This report it's a comparison of actual this September 30th of last year with this year's September 30th data with the current year's budget. Okay, that's what the first three line items, the first three columns are. The fourth one is a comparison of the actual of the 9/30/2025 with the actual budget. And the reason I give you the 25%, that's where we are at the current time. So I go down this column where Chris will go through this, he goes with the details. But he and I'll go through this real quick and we'll see something and we'll go look at it real quick. For example, building, they're at 36%. Something's going on. And I would go look in that, and if there was something to report or something, I would tell Chris or tell Kevin that something's going on. I also found an error. There's a zero on, I can't remember where it was. Oh, yeah, you got my copy. I gave you mine. Which one is that? That's, it's in the street budget. The transfers in, that zero should probably be about 24%. We got 25% of the transfers. So that's kind of an overview, and if council has questions on any of this, you can send them to me or Chris.
That's very helpful.
We'll get back to you. Councilor Andrade had some questions about beginning fund balance. So that beginning fund balance, that cash carry forward, and the actual of 9/30/2025, you'll notice is the budget number. I do not have a budget number, an actual number. The audit's not complete yet. Once I get the audit is complete, I will replace that with the actual number. What happened in the prior report, I had a formula that went and got last year's number. I was like, threw it off. So that number is going to be hard coded until the audit's done, and then it'll probably be probably the February report is when you'll see the actual number. So I think that was, did I get all of your questions, Counselor?
Yeah, to clarify, you said that the actual is just what it's.
Right now, it's a budget. The carry forward.
Yeah, but you had said that
Eventually-
something is hard coded in until the audit happens. I missed.
Right, once the audit's done, I will replace that budget number with the actual number.
Oh, in the budget column.
In the budget column.
Gotcha.
No, in the
actual.
middle actual.
The middle
25.
Oh,
The
okay.
middle actual
That
right
one.
now, that's the budget. You'll notice it's the same as the budget.
Yes.
That's because I don't know what it is, but it's supposed to be close to that number. So
Okay.
once I get it, then I go in and replace that.
I see.
But last year, the prior report, I had a formula that last year.
The huge carry forward. Okay, and so that's the only one that will potentially change for all the different funds.
Right. Yeah.
Potentially, but most likely won't because you are awesome at your job.
The main column, the first two columns will change because those are based on the dates. Then the month of incident. Those will continuously.
Yeah, I guess for each quarter, it will change.
Right. But that budget column will not change. That budget column.
Yes, no, I understand that.
Okay.
But we're just double checking the actuals for the cash carry forward once we get the.
Yeah, when you're talking cash, that'll change, but everything, you know.
Okay, okay.
Thank you for clarifying.
Yeah.
You're getting, kind of
Yeah,
getting.
no, I think everyone's saying the same things, different words.
Or are they ever?
No, I no.
It's kind of hard.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, thank
No,
you.
this is great. Thank you.
Where you understand how this thing works.
Yeah.
I think the main thing that had thrown me off was the, like, especially with the carry forwards being like over the 25%, like a lot more.
It's gonna be 100% till I have a real number.
Yeah, yeah.
Except on the second page, there's 1,765%.
Yeah, I saw that one. I went, wow, that's pretty cool. That's my kid's very,
Was that revenue, right?
yeah, I gotta go what that is.
Okay, so that's
I think Chris
a mistake.
had said in
What
my
is it? It's
email
type
that
of
it
revenue.
was the water.
Yeah, that's in the
treatment plant,
revenue. Look at the miscellaneous. Miscellaneous, they're all true numbers. I mean, I just need to go see what's going on.
So, yeah, I think in my email, Chris had replied to it about it being water treatment plant funds.
We thought we were going to support the plant, but we didn't end up bidding for the plant, so
We were supposed to. So it's not really like new money. It's just money we yeah.
Unless I'm reading correct, it looks pretty good then.
Yes, we're doing.
You know, as far as percentage wise, and it
Yeah.
looks.
Very good.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm happy with it. I looked at the fine details. I've got some things I need to fix and maybe that'll fix a couple of the numbers, but yeah, we're in good shape at this point, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for making this sort of a feature of the. It's great.
Try and get it on a monthly basis,
Yeah,
but it'll be like a month behind, but.
yeah, that's fine. I just think it helps the council because I feel like we pass the budget and then it feels like we don't really do anything with the budget again until we pass the next budget. So now it kind of gives us a good.
Well,
How are we doing?
Okay.
Looking forward to the idea. I like to see that it's
Good trend.
not, like, when we just look at the beginning and end numbers,
Right.
sometimes it feels like, kind of like a linear line, but like, you know, this month we spent quite a bit more of the budget or not, or, you know, I think it's interesting.
yeah, and you'll see the property taxes, we don't have anything.
Right.
You'll see that the next time around. You'll start receiving those probably in the next 2 weeks.
Okay. Any other questions for Mike? All right, well then,
Thank you.
get out of here. Thank you. And then I think I said that we would do management report now too, but I'm thinking since we have the strategic plan update, it might make more sense to do that.
John Barlow's here from Planning Commission too, so
Oh,
we should
sure.
recognize him.
So then we'll return to item E, new business, with the planning commission vacancy on page 11. And John Barlow has sent in his notice of resignation since he will be no longer residing city limits. And so what we're looking for from the council is just approval to leave that position vacant until January. And then we'll just lump it in with the rest of our board and commissioning vacancies. So, John, I don't know if did you want to say anything or?
Sure. You asked the lawyer.
Grab a seat up here just so we can catch you on the microphone, Mr. Barlow.
Thank you. Well, it's been a pleasure. It's been 24 years that we've lived in I think I'm told that Philomath means lover of learning in Latin. And now we're living in Corvallis in San Francisco. I think San Francisco is Spanish. I think Corvallis in Latin means Albany is eating our lunch. It's been kind of an adjustment. Mayor, my daughter Lauren, who went to school with you, I was speaking to her on the phone just before I came in. Hello.
Oh, well, hello. Hello, Lauren.
It's been a pleasure to serve on the commission. I have They have our city manager. Chris has been a really great leader, and it's been a difficult time because we've had a fair amount of turnover on the commission and on the planning staff as well. And, I think that one of the things that really strikes me is one of the things I think really makes Paloma stronger and over the last several years. We're not a news desert. We have a very vibrant local news, and I know many of you are already supporters of the Philomath News, but if I could leave with one thing, it would be that if you're not, or if you're considering increasing your support of that, I think it has really made a huge difference in the way that people are connected in this great city of volunteers. And we will miss you, and we will think of you in San Francisco. And my children lovingly call it Philo Farm. And I'm sure they'll be back very often, Philo Farm. Thanks for the opportunity to serve, and thanks for all you're doing.
John, really appreciate you. I'll just say, if I can, just a couple words. I've always been appreciative of being able to rely on you on those planning commission meetings, sometimes especially in public hearings. I could always rely on John to kind of bring the entire planning commission kind of back to like, what's the criteria? What are we supposed to be looking at? And really looking at it very judiciously, if you will. And I just always appreciate that. Great insights and dependable. I was at the meetings, and if I could have another 6 of you on the planning commission, we'd be all that much better off. So you will be missed, my friend, and wish you and your family all the best. And, you know, I've only been in the community for 12 years, didn't go to school with his kids or anything, but I can tell in talking to people the kind of the fingerprints that you've left on the community. So you are a Philomath resident and always will be, regardless of where you live. So welcome back anytime. Come and see us.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Sean.
Thank you very much. With that, I think Councilor Andrade maybe had a motion.
To direct the city manager to advertise the planning commission vacancy with upcoming end-of-year board and committee vacancies.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilor Andrade, seconded by Councilor Salsa, to direct the city manager to advertise the planning commission vacancy with upcoming end-of-year board and committee vacancies. Is there any discussion on that motion? Seeing none, would all those in favor please raise your hand and say aye?
Aye.
Aye. That passes unanimously. All right. Now that brings us to even more fun. The 2025-2026 Oregon Mayors Association If I Were Mayor contest. And I just have to say, I feel like I've already said this, but this is awesome. And in no small part thanks to Crystal, as well as Chelsea and Chris, and everyone who works at the city, because I have to say that now. We really stepped up our game last year. And Councilor Crocker and Councilor Salsa were a big part of that for the celebration and the scoring. And we've turned it from just sort of a low-key essay contest into a really kind of engaged event, working with the schools to get the word out. And then I had the really fun opportunity to go to assemblies at each of the schools and announce the winners, and they got to be recognized by their peers. And then we brought them to City Hall in a police car, and they had lunch and we talked about their ideas. They got to ride in a fire truck. It was a great time. And we're already thinking about how we can go even bigger and better this year. It's just a shame we don't own a helicopter.
Liability.
No. So basically, we are still working out the details of exactly how we want to improve this year. If you have ideas, text me. But what we're looking for tonight is the same thing we were looking for last year. We need a couple counselors to help review applications and score, and then potentially, if you're available, join us on the day of the celebration. And then, same as last year, looking for approval of just up to $300 from our sort of, I don't remember the line item, it's like miscellaneous / events or something, to support the event we host and the prizes and everything. So I see we have a volunteer.
I have
Okay, we got 3 folks. Is that fine? Is that fine to have a quorum?
It's a lot easier if we don't have a quorum.
Okay,
Otherwise, it's got to be open to the public and.
no, that's fair.
I'll back out.
Well,
I mean, it doesn't, I don't, it was, I have strong feelings.
I loved it last year. It was very fun and I would do it again, but I will step aside too because too many, everyone.
Such a blast with it.
it was pretty great.
It's
Well, here we are.
Give it a coin.
Well, I want to recognize if you haven't had a chance to do it before, you have a chance, but okay. Well, so yes, okay. So maybe if we do Counselor Salsa and Counselor Andrade, can everyone live with that? Okay.
Should remember next year.
Yes. Think about this. Okay. So then, that is true. I know. I'd be scared of you.
Yeah, that's even a little
Well, and
hard.
I guess that is one other note, is last year, I think there was a lost in translation thing where technically each school level has a different sort of assignment. Last year, I think that got lost in translation and they all wrote essays. Technically, the elementary level students are supposed to create a poster. The middle school level are supposed to do an essay, and then the high school level are supposed to create like a video or a multimedia presentation. So Crystal and I have talked, we're really gonna try to make sure that gets
tightened up.
pushed a little firmer this year. It doesn't make a huge difference as far as like us, but the other big thing is if you win your town's contest, then you get entered in the statewide contest. And obviously, if you don't follow those criteria, you're not gonna make it there.
And we produced a statewide winner already once.
I didn't know that. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Got a repeat. Several years ago. But.
Okay.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
I think it's important.
Well, with that, I will move that we appoint Counselor Salsa and Counselor Andrade to assist Mayor McMorrin with scoring the If I Were Mayor contest entries and authorize up to $300 from the City Council Community Support Account for prizes.
I'll second that.
Okay. It's been moved by me and seconded by Counselor Crocker to move forward with that plan. I just don't want to read the whole thing out again. Is any discussion on that motion? Okay. Seeing none, would all those in favor please raise your hand and say aye? Aye. That passes unanimously. All right, Crystal, start looking for prizes. I feel like this is Crystal's favorite part of her job.
That
is true. That is true. And yeah, anyway, you can see more about the specifics there. But now, even more fun. This is such a fun council meeting. Well, the work session was. But the city manager had the idea this year of potentially starting the tradition of selecting a grand marshal for the light parade that we do in December as an opportunity to honor a member of the community or whatever you want for their service and for being such a great member of the community. By being the grand marshal of the parade, that's something that happens for the Frolic Parade and many other parades. So we wanted to see what you thought of that, and if anyone has any suggestions for a grand marshal. I see a hand already. We'll do Councilor Caseman and then Councilor Crocker.
Come with a name or two. The first person that came to my mind was Eric Neiman.
Okay.
So I will throw his name out on the.
And my suggestion was, and I don't know who this is, somebody that worked on streetscape from our area, from our town, and whether that's the rock people or even our public works department.
What are the rock people?
Well,
Frolic, the blue rocks, is that what you're talking about?
Mid-Valley Gravel.
Mid-Valley Gravel is what I'm trying to say.
ACDC? Okay.
No, but Is there a local group that worked on that?
Mid Valley did not get the
Okay.
bid for that job, so they didn't.
They fall for it,
So Public Works though did some painting.
Public Works is local.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some work that they did.
I think, I mean, that was such a huge project that it.
I do like and see Diane's idea of celebrating the project by selecting somebody. Jack?
Because it finished this year, right? This calendar year?
I think last year. It's a good idea.
The warranty period went on this.
Yes, there you go.
There, yeah, now it's officially.
And finally, when we started hearing that the committee was very pleased.
Yes, yeah. Councilor Andrade?
Wanted to clarify, it's like, yes, Cool Beans, Grand Marshal, like recognize the awesome things that people have done, but like, I guess, do they get like a key to the city or like like a fun sash or like a lunch or something?
Press release to kind of help that promote and advertise it as well. So a press release, my experience with the Frolic Parade is we would leave it to them if they wanted to find their own vehicle and driver, if they wanted us to help. So I've got some contacts there that we, if they wanted, and on weather, they might want something covered as compared to the convertible, but so I would work with them on that. And then expense wise, I think put in here, we just do some Grand Marshal door magnets that we could use year after year after year. So they're just getting the recognition. They're not getting any financial gain or anything. It's just a thank you essentially. So for the city, fairly minimal expense as well. It's just a title.
I'd like a key to the city, right? Like a big light up.
It all starts with the big scissors, just letting you know. It all.
Well, not a weapon.
Table this discussion. The other thought I had, just given sort of all the difficulties recently, would be someone from Fulham Community Services, whether that's Sharon or someone from the food bank, just since they've been working a lot of overtime right now. So I just wanted to bring that possibility up, but yes.
Similarly, I was thinking of Janelle and Brian with the farmers market and all the efforts for like the double up food bucks and the all the other programs that they're incorporating.
They will be in Honduras, however.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good for them.
Yeah.
Why don't we do the parade in Honduras?
I had it to dinner last night. That's when it came up.
Oh, really?
Honduras and that.
Okay, well, any other
That's a
nominations or suggestions?
So if I can just mention, Eric was my suggestion
Okay.
as well. I was gonna nominate as well because I've worked with him in various modes and he just does wonderful things for a lot of behind the scenes things that we don't even notice that go around doing amazing work for a lot of various organizations.
And November 7th at 8:10, and everybody's invited at the middle school. They're having their Veterans Day Assembly, and Eric is the guest speaker. So that's a cool thing.
Okay, well, I'm hearing a lot of pro Eric discussion. Does anyone potentially have a motion?
Particularly for this thing about the lights, and I think it's very in a symbolic sort of way. I think we kind of shine a light on him.
Yeah.
But I know, right? So I think it's very appropriate.
The budget for this thing's growing. Yeah. Spotlights, yeah, I can see the whole show.
Counselor,
Were you entertaining a motion? Did I hear that?
I would always entertain a motion.
That's
okay. Like, I just thought I would. Please.
Based on council deliberation and or vote, I guess I should. Celebration.
Wasn't sure how we're gonna get there.
Deliberation.
Just deliberation.
Here we go. Based on council deliberation, I move the council select Eric Neiman as the 2025 Philomath Parade of Lights Grand Marshal.
All right. It's been moved by Counselor Caseman, seconded by Counselor Salsa to select Eric Neiman as the 2025 Philomath Parade of Lights Grand Marshal. Is there any discussion on that motion? Being none, would all those in favor please raise your hand and say aye?
Aye.
And I think, is that unanimous? Okay. The problem with having one person right here is I can see all of you in this, and then I'm like, and then I look back anyway.
All high and little louder.
Yeah. Okay,
I'll
then,
use my Toastmaster skills. You know,
all right.
it's,
That is adopted unanimously. Counselor Crocker?
This one put out, I don't know that the city council should sign up for a float because you're the only one on it. And before there was like 3 of us or something like that. I am not gonna be in town that day, so,
If you want to be on a float, find a float and get on it.
we're just
Public
milling
Works
around.
people put in work to decorate a float for us and I was the it was awful.
I want to clarify, Chaz and I were there. We were just handing out candy.
You were on the float.
From what it looked like, it was literally just this.
Oh.
It was like,
You were the grand marshal.
no, literally, and so many little kids are like, it's Diane Crocker. I want you to know my brother's still talking. Because you can't talk. So that is a good question, though, I guess. So do we want to do a city or? Okay, I'll be here, but
Public Works has the city has the
Right, with
the
Public
Public Works will
Works.
be there and usually the police are there. So we're represented even if the council doesn't.
all right. So
I might be there, but I don't need to be.
sure. Okay.
If you want to hop on the Public Works float,
Yeah.
Okay.
arrange it. So
Does that work for everyone? We'll just, if you would like to be in the parade, join Public Works. Otherwise, we'll go about our lives. Okay. Wonderful. Now we get into the meat of. We'll turn it over to our city manager for our first quarter strategic plan report.
Yeah, so it's provided in there. Mostly format wise, hopefully it wasn't too difficult to follow, but I did distinguish between 2025, 26 action items and future action item. Anything that says future action item was something that wasn't in our kind of top 10, top 13 priority for this year. So distinguish those, but on some of those, we have taken some action, others we haven't. Because we recognize even though it wasn't in the top 13, there's still some things that we need to do, especially around some of the objectives. So I tried to put information where there were updates to provide and then just kind of get there were a lot of changes, as you recall, from last year's strategic plan to this one. So this first quarterly report was a little bit of a lift, just to get the formatting and everything in there. Yeah, rather than go page by page, I think would be more better time spent with answering any questions that the council has on anything specific. So maybe we'll start with theme 1 on good governance and community engagement. Does anybody have any comments or concerns on topics there?
I was just curious about the visioning project. Just only because like I never really thought about like what the outcome of a visioning project would be other than like cohesiveness and stuff. I was curious about the expected output of a community plan to advance economic development and like how that fits in. And I was curious if that had anything to do with the healthy, sustainable communities. The vendor that we spoke with at the conference.
Let's do with that and more do with the Ford Family Foundation. So as Chelsea and I were talking to Ford Family. They love the project. The funding they would have for the project would come from their economic development sphere and what they're doing there to try to build small rural communities to have that long-term economic success. And so community development, economic development, all kind of ties in. And so we've crafted a scope of this work that's actually been reviewed and approved by Ford family. At this point, they're just waiting for us to actually fill out the formal application and get that submitted. But it looks like there is funding that could come our way, but they want to have a tangible something that they can point to say, this is what we've helped provide for the city. And that's got to be more than just, we all get along, we all know each other really well now. And so I don't believe that the economic development spin on things is going to deter from the project call. If anything, I think it'll give it that much more focus because it'll help as organizations are coming to the table talking about things that they want to see and residents are coming to us and talking about benefits, improvements they want to see. We're not just talking about root beer and the drinking fountains, right? We're actually talking about things that are going to improve quality of life, which improving quality of life is improving economic development, community development, vitality and everything else. So it'll just have a little bit more technical output in that document, but the process to get there is still going to be much of what we've talked about, which is reaching out to the organizations and stakeholders, reaching out to the community with some survey information, working with a consultant to look for where those Venn diagrams kind of pull together and where there's some shared interests, some shared concerns, helping prioritize projects and all that. So all of that still is very much built into the scope of the work. And I was going to cover this on my management report, so we're just getting there a little bit earlier. But that's kind of where we're headed. Timeframe wise, just while we're on the topic of this, so I don't have to touch it so much on my management report. I'm hoping to get their application in. Hopefully by the end of the year, we'll have our approval from Ford family. We'll have a consultant on board because we'll have to do a light RFP for that. And we'll have a first kickoff event scheduled for January. And hopefully, working with the consultant at that point, we'll have the first 4 to 5 meetings of that stakeholder group put together and on the calendar so we can start promoting and getting that out. Hopefully as early as like next month, middle of next month, we'll be able to start promoting those meetings, make sure everybody can get involved. So I'm excited about where we're at, direction we're going. I don't feel like we're too far behind yet. It's just a little, just before first part of November. So we're timing wise, we're still looking okay, but that's an exciting project.
Yeah, totally. Thank you.
Any other things on theme 1, which covers halfway through page 26?
Consider establishment of a local gas tax to support the street fund. That means our gas would be more expensive than Corvallis? Is that right? Am I understanding?
I don't know what.
Haven't taken any action on that.
That's a future action.
Future, I know.
I mean, it's a weird, like, Newport. Well, it's like, I don't know how the economy works, but Newport always has cheaper gas than we do, and they have a gas tax. So I think money is fake and
Business.
no, I know. I think just for the sake of tonight, it's probably best to stay focused on the things we've identified here. But I was going to say this at the end. I'll say it now since you brought that up. Since it's been a while since we've looked through this, do just internally keep track of anything in here that you think is really interesting, because we will be going over and doing our strategic planning process again in January, or beginning it in January. So if you have questions like that where you think a gas tax is great or a gas tax is awful, just remember that and look through this. Then
January, we can bring those topics up.
Right. And I think Chris and I talked about, this year, it felt like we spent half of our strategic planning process, like redoing the strategic planning process. So I'm really excited for this January, where now we know how the new process works. And now we actually can kind of spend the time, talking about policy and vision and everything. So just to say, good question, Councilor Crocker. Questions like that, keep them in mind for January. But yes, Councilor Andrade.
I know you said what you just said. And also, I know that there's been some, slow movement on the recruiting process, the municipal code text for committees, boards, and such. I was curious what the update was, because I haven't heard anything besides random conversations here and there.
Which one? Sorry, I missed part of that.
That's a
Municipal code update.
Municipal
for
code update.
Committees, boards
Yeah.
and
Like
committees.
Oh, yeah. It just needs to get back to the finance admin committee. We've just had other stuff that we've been hitting on, so.
I was just curious. I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
What had been approved. Cool. That's
We
exciting.
like pitched it to the finance app committee and they said, that sounds cool. And then we haven't gotten much further. So, yeah. Question. Anything else on theme 1? Anything on theme 2? I guess, Chelsea, do you want to say anything about the public art process that you might have done?
Yeah, we have a meeting, first meeting scheduled November 12th. And I just talked to Chris. Right? Was that just Friday? Seems like a long time ago.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, the mayor on Friday. And kind of laid out that first meeting, which is going to prioritize a temporary kind of pop-up art program to get some pieces downtown. Some messaging to explain to people that's temporary, it's a pop-up, and then start to work on a public art plan, which I have a draft for the committee to look at. So that's kind of the first 2 steps, is to work on getting some art that's temporary, and then get that plan in place so that we have the meat of the program for looking at. We talked about Maxtivity potentially has some good ideas for the downtown area, so we'll be looking at that after we start working on getting that plan in place.
Councilor Crocker.
Can I recommend Debbie and Merrill Summers, Sunbaum Summers? He's got some artwork in the library right now that, are we talking outside?
Outside.
Yeah, so it's welding kind of stuff,
Okay.
and it's really cool, and that might be a first start.
Okay, yeah, and we would put a call to artists out and try to get that word out, especially locally. Most likely people who are closer will be most interested because it's kind of a temporary thing and they'd have to move it and there'll be logistics, but we'll definitely get that word out and can look to you all if you have folks that you could share that with. That would be great.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you. Oh, Councilor Jolly.
We're talking about theme 2?
Yeah.
Just clarifying question. I wasn't sure if this was just a holdover from the previous strategic plan, but objective 2.4.3, the future action on travel, applying for a travel organ or something similar for wayfinding signs in downtown. It was assigned fiscal year 24-25, and I wasn't sure if that was just something that we had planned to do, but didn't get to.
It was 24-25, but then 25-26, it wasn't prioritized, so it should be future. So, yeah, I tried to catch all those 24-25s.
Just wanted to make sure, because I couldn't remember if it was prioritized or not.
Yeah, I mean, we've had conversations and I've got an idea there, but it didn't raise up to the top 10 things for us to focus on this year. So
We've got plenty of other downtown stuff we can work on.
I'm going back a page if I could on 28, just some of the things that were for this year. If I could just report real quick. We're going to talk about 14th Street here later in the agenda tonight, so there's some progress there we'll touch on. For the property that the city owns on 20th Street, the housing, I did hear back from Commonwealth. There isn't funding this budget cycle from the state that they can jump on it and get applied this year, but it said here they're like number 3 on the list. So it looks like the next time funding becomes available through the state, they're in good position to get awarded a grant, and then they'll be much more interested in moving the project forward. They are still working on a purchase agreement that we should be getting within the next, I would guess, few weeks or something. It sounds like EM Legal, we're working something up. So we'll still move forward with a purchase agreement, but we're not going to be like in hurry up mode to get the funding for this year and get going on the project. It's going to be delayed, at least 6 months, a year or something before they're going to be in a financial position to move forward. So. And then at the bottom page was completion of the grandstand lighting restroom ADA, and we celebrated that this summer. So that project has been completed. I know the Frolic and Rodeo is very much interested in additional fundraising for phase 2, which is removing the remaining grandstands under the sheltered area and rebuilding that whole section up, everything on the east side of the arena. So that's kind of their phase 2 that they'll be working on. I think that's all I had for phase 2. Anything out of phase 3
Theme.
or theme?
You got on
3?
phase.
Theme 3. Being
I'll
part
just have a one, I think you meant to say begin in January 2026, and you're talking about the agreement in place with the CW COG, right there at objective 3.1.1.
Is it plan to being?
It says being.
Oh, got it. Yeah,
I think it's begin is what you meant to say.
You know, in a sense, it will come into.
But hey, at least you know I'm reading this.
Yes.
We put that in there just to see if you
Just,
Councilor Andrade?
3.5.4 about tree canopies program and a pilot project. It doesn't have a thing associated with it, but I've seen some progress on a pilot project. Is that correct?
Prioritize it.
Well,
Never stopped me before. Yes. Yeah, so this is, well, I guess we should check with Public Works to see how it's actually been going, but from my perspective, it's been going really well. And, you know, credit to our tree board volunteers in a big part as well for kind of pushing that forward.
What has happened to?
Yes, I will, just, yeah. The idea that came up, two years ago, something, I don't know. Back when I was just an annoying new city councilor, was to, and I swear to God, Graham Cedars came up with this idea. He doesn't remember coming up with this idea. He thinks I came up with it, but I swear to God, he came up with it. So I'm going to give him the credit, even if he doesn't think he did. But then I ran with it and turned it into this thing.
public record now, so.
I guess, yeah. I think, yeah. But basically, the idea is it was sort of this great convergence of factors where Public Works has trees that they grow up from little seedlings into saplings. And usually those trees are the like leftover seedlings that they get donated from like Pacific Power or Pioneer, or who I honestly don't remember who donates them. But yeah, as part of the third grade Arbor Day celebrations, they usually have several left over or through park projects.
We buy them, they're just really cheap.
Sure.
They're just the seedling.
Right. So anyway, those trees that are sort of left over from other projects or events, that Public Works has them and grows them into larger, sturdier saplings. And then separately, the tree board was talking about how there's a need to increase our urban canopy in parts of town. Some parts of town are great, but other areas don't have a lot of mature trees. And we were just talking about how the city can plant trees in our parks or along our right of way, but you know, the amount of land that is owned by the city or in our right of way versus the total amount of land is not very much. So then we came up with this idea to give away some of the trees that Public Works has, and it was kind of this win-win because Public Works needed to get them off of their lot. And we were trying to increase the canopy, so then we worked with Public Works and Crystal, despite Chelsea's wishes, to come up with some materials that then myself and our tree board volunteers and some folks out and Public Works identified several sort of areas or neighborhoods around town that right now lack that mature tree canopy. And we went out and knocked on the doors in those neighborhoods. And if they answered the door, then we explained the program to them. We gave them the card. We talked about the different types of trees that were available, big trees, small trees, all different kinds of to grow in different places. If they weren't there, we just left the information. And then if they would like to plant a tree on their property, they can call or email Public Works and arrange a time to pick up the tree or have the tree delivered to their property. And then they get care tips and planting tips and everything. And Public Works is keeping track of the addresses of all the people who are requesting a tree so that you know, a year from now, we can kind of check in with them, be like, hey, is the tree still alive? Is it growing? Kind of, you know, and then we can evaluate how we want that to go in the future. So I think it's been great. And the Facebook post I made about it, blew up. So people love it, which is great. But I was a little, and then Brad wrote a great little piece on it and everything too. So I think it's another good kind of Philomath project where we aren't really spending.
Literally, kind of.
Yeah, it's yeah. And it's not, we're not really like spending any extra money on it. We're not really spending a ton of extra staff time on it. It's kind of this win-win-win where Public Works has the trees, they need to get rid of them. We have folks that would like trees and it kind of helps the community as a whole. The last thing I'll say about it, because this is what I said to everyone at the doors, is that obviously we all know trees are great, they're beautiful. They help bring down your energy costs in the summer. They help purify our air and water. And having mature trees on your property can increase your property values by up to like 10 or 15%. So that usually got people where I'd like knock on their door, like, hey, like we're doing this program, we complain, like, I don't want a tree. And I'm like, oh, but it makes, you know, the water cleaner on the ground. And they're like, oh, and it increases your property value. Like, okay, give me the code. So anyway, I'll be quiet about that now, but it's been cool. It's been a fun one. Yes, thank you. Anything to add about that, Rich?
No, perfect. Yep.
Cool.
Question, 3.5.5. I don't remember what this is. Increased opportunities for improved waste management and businesses. Does anyone remember what that is?
Was that like a recycling?
Look at a recycling depot or like a glass recycling area or something like that. Okay.
Thank you.
And there's still some rumblings going around there with some of the new recycling mandates that we have. So we're fairly actively at the staff level working with Republic Services and Benton County on maybe looking some places in town or something, but it's slow going. So
Well, I wasn't sure because I didn't remember adding it. I know that we had talked about it, but anyway, cool. Thanks.
yeah, for this year, you're looking at 3.61. So that action item on new park equipment, that's going to be a spring project. So we'll probably be testing the ground and waiting for it to not be so soggy before we put equipment in and fall surface and all that stuff. So that's turning, I believe, into a spring, maybe a late spring project. Security at improving security at City Park, meeting areas and restrooms. We've got cameras picked out. This is one of those items that somehow we had it in the strategic plan, got identified, but we didn't throw extra money to budget for it. So we're trying to find, Mike's gone, we're trying to find some money. There's a couple other projects that may not happen that we might be able, that are in the same fund that we might be able to use for this instead. So we'll know more, but again, that's going to be kind of a spring project that we'll look at doing.
I had one question on that, and it may be semantics, it may not. My recollection from that was a lot of it was about Mary's River Park.
We were looking at Mary's
Okay.
River Park. That's the number one.
Okay,
Park.
I think I didn't know if it said city park, if that meant like city owned parks.
Yeah, I think that
Okay, that's what I thought. Sure.
So is this like one of those pull systems or what are we talking?
Yeah, it'll be a system that we'll be able to utilize in multiple parks, and we're also looking at maybe using the same system on our buildings and trying to incorporate all of that. So trying to get out of the habit of running to Costco and buying a system and plugging it in, and then it doesn't work 2 years later, and then we just had to work it. So this will be a more comprehensive package, yeah.
CIS.
Is it a
yes.
second question, controversial system or is it,
No, this will be very similar to what.
We're doing like a lot of like facial recognition.
well, that's why I was down.
Not complex.
Now,
A little bit more.
I'm not sure popular. Prevalent.
Speeding citations.
Yeah. Littering,
Riding your bike too fast. Yeah, littering, it'll
Yeah.
catch you.
thought violation, yeah.
No, these will be more looking at them retroactively, and
You know, use
I think City Park, because we were having a lot of vandalism problem. I think it was kind of heightened it, and then we were concerned about reverse as well, so.
Is that kind of, have we have a remedy to the vandalism? Is it lessened or is it still increasing?
It's,
Betty?
the vandalism that we get at City Park is random. It's because it's usually one or two individuals, and it just depends on who those individuals are, who they're staying with, whatever, and it's different. So, tagging is very local. We don't have folks from out of the community come in and tagging stuff. It's usually local juveniles that decide to take spray paint and make art. So it's very spotty, very spotty. The art itself is spotty, and the frequency is also there. It's hard to budget for. We always put money in the budget. We don't know if we're going to get it or not. But the additional signage saying "Smile, you're on camera," or something similar, and then the cameras themselves. Well, it's a deterrent more than anything, or give another target. Anything else in theme 3?
No.
Theme 4 on our safe community. I'll just say I really like how this morphed from just here's all the stuff the police is doing all the time to here's like community safety projects that includes infrastructure and includes police. So I really like how this theme kind of came together. For this year, we've got the obtaining grant to get permanent instant feedback sign radar signs. This is one too. The project costs escalated a little bit on us, but we've got Dave's been working hard to identify a vendor for us. Work with ODOT because they've got their new specifications. We've got it figured out. And I think we're really close on the funding side. This is one too. I don't think we put additional funding specifically for this, or at least not enough with the increased costs. But I think we'll be able to get there before the end of the year on that one as well. So that one will get done. It's just
And the biggest thing of that was they changed the specifications, like mounting this.
Which increased the cost.
So,
then we're looking at one at the west end of town and one at the east end of town on the day. And once we get them in and they're successful, we might look at north and south a little bit too, or at least coming in from the north on like 19 or maybe 9 or whatever. So.
And where are you thinking about putting it? Because I know like on this end, it goes from like 55, 45, 25, whereas there it's like 45, 40, 35, 20. Like, do you know where?
Chief Gursky's working with ODOT on that, so we're figuring that one out. More than likely, it will replace one of the existing 25-mile-an-hour signs.
Oh,
It'll
okay,
be mounted
sure.
to an existing 25-mile-an-hour sign.
Okay.
Not in addition to, but in lieu of.
Cool. I'm wondering on 421, which is the emergency preparedness. We've got it up on the website. Any thoughts on doing a thing? I'm looking at Chelsea because I feel like, I don't know, a town hall or some sort of we had a couple of other things out there, and when we brought it up, I was surprised how unprepared, uninformed. I'm not sure what the right word. Unprepared, exaggerative. Like we have most of the stuff, but I think we're missing that gap to getting to the community of like how to so if we run, I don't know whatever the thing, but we don't have power for a week or something. How do we?
We've talked to Brian Lee, the county emergency manager, about maybe coming and doing a little bit of education for the council, which I think Chris and I have talked about that being a good start, so that you know a little bit more about what they do and their reassurances about what is in place for the community, and just our working relationship with them. So if you have anything to add to that.
I would like that.
Doing that.
I think I was talking to a person from Yahats, I have friends there, and their community does an annual emergency preparedness fair. And it's, I haven't attended, but she's talked about it. And it is a big event that is, Yahats is Yahats, but, Wallport also does a emergency preparedness fair. I know, because I work with someone that's on part of that. So it is done on a community basis more than just a city council basis.
Right.
So I think that's something to discuss in January.
Yeah, I'm excited about the Good Start
Right,
idea.
yeah,
I'd
we
love to
just think it
even
would be a
just
good
know what
start
to
to-
say if somebody,
Right.
if I said, we should really focus on being prepared, and they go, what does that mean? I'd go, well, let me call Chelsea. Yeah, put the website together, like,
If you have power and a phone.
yeah, like what, I don't know.
That's how we're
maybe
still
a little more.
Well, and I think that there's a lot of resources out there. I don't know of how much so like here in Oregon and here specifically in County Philomath, but like there are a lot of resources out there geared towards individuals from specific organizations. So having that systemic, hyper local, like what is Philomath doing, and knowing that background will be helpful. I agree.
I'm thinking if we could incorporate that into the night out, the annual night out is in August. That would have a station to teach or have handouts and stuff.
I believe they are there. They attend there and have emergency preparedness materials, and they go to the farmer's market quite a bit as well with their emergency preparedness materials, yeah. So, yeah, I think that's kind of the point, that it would be good to get just that conversation with you all so that you do know what's going on out there. Right, yes.
Frolic.
Yeah, the Frolic has the emergency preparedness fair. They're in the chili feed outside of the chili feed, which is a really good event.
Chili.
Yes, the chili is great as well, but outside of it, yes.
Fun.
Yeah, and it's a free event, which is great. Yes, Brian, it's there.
Okay, any other thoughts on the sort of updates for this quarter?
Maybe.
It's not actually on the strategic plan, but the visible traffic enforcement reminded me of the conversations we've had about the vehicles, law enforcement vehicles being difficult to read. And I've noticed some unmarked law enforcement vehicles in Philomath proper. And like, I wasn't quite sure. I was curious if the city owns any of those, or if those are like county or state vehicles that I'm seeing, or if they're potentially like federal rentals or something.
The only unmarked vehicle that our police use is the little red, whatever it is, the
Vehicle.
Ford Focus, the Ford Focus.
There's one,
And they only use that to go like ABC House, or if they're doing that. We don't have any
Being on
patrol vehicles.
there is one Ford SUV that doesn't say police.
I think there's one, yeah.
I think one of.
And I wasn't sure if that was ours or the county's, because we contacted the county.
Well, I mean, Thurman was driving it, so.
Yeah.
But do we
We'll get
own them, or is that?
No, we do.
That we do. Yes.
Is there a reason why it's not marked?
I think it had to do just with when they did it, and there's a huge delay for them to get in for getting some of the work done.
So the new one, we just.
I think it's the new one.
With the
with
decals too?
Yeah, for everything. They get it all done at the same place, and there's big delays, so sometimes they're getting things on the road, so they have something to drive, and they don't have everything in there yet, but we can
I'll
check
find
in.
out.
Yeah.
Thanks. I I got to thinking about it, and even if we have like magnets to slap on, like a good thing.
Disregard the appendix, that's for the old one.
Sure.
Added on here mistakenly, so I apologize.
And if we're kidding, still think it'd be cool if they were white
Agreed.
or purple. Or
Brighter than dark gray.
Yeah. What do you know? Just- Okay. What?
Are you talking about the cars with me?
Letters on the side of the, I just don't like how they're the same color as the car.
But the former chief.
He said some stuff for
Yes, he
sure
did.
that doesn't make any sense.
Said it's
The
cheaper.
receipts.
It's a lot cheaper to go with the black than it is the white.
Let's look up.
Show us the receipts.
Let's move on.
Let's move on. Damn fast. We have a lot to talk about, so.
Okay. Any other things on theme 4? Okay. Well, that's the last thing.
Yep, reach out anytime if you want updates on things. I think we've done a good job of monthly highlighting our top 13. And obviously there's some, again, some bonus objectives and action items that we're doing in addition to. And I'll just echo what the mayor said. It's not too early to start thinking about conversations in January. We really have tried to make very hard. I think we're doing a nice job the way it's structured now to make sure that these priorities are coming from you as the council with some staff influence. Management team's going to be meeting before your retreat to talk about what are those kind of big high priority projects that staff feels like are important and need to get done. And that conversation gets had like we did last year with you and in your groups. And if they can make a case and you agree, then it's a priority. And if not, it's not. So it really, we do want this to definitely be reflective of what our elected officials see as priorities with some management team influence in there on kind of things that we see that we can be as aware of. So we'll go through that process again, but yeah, start thinking through it. Are things that are important? Something jumped out at you too. It's like, why are we doing this? Well, circle it because it means it wasn't a big enough priority for everybody last year. We can't do everything. We got to limit it down.
When the pilot tree thing had me thinking that also, along with staff priorities, thinking about committee priorities might be useful when we do it. We didn't include that as a criteria a lot, but like that was a kind of obvious thing that we could do because there was a committee structure there to support it. And so it might be worthwhile in January to think about Parks Committee or Parks Board, the tree committee, that type of thing.
Do that. I do that. Park board.
Yeah, just so like folks know we're talking about it, like some of those things, we could have had that in there and it wouldn't have been very heavy lift and impactful, and then we'd have one more thing.
You know, it is the beauty of keeping it narrowed down to 10 is that we can take on a project mid-year.
Yeah.
And we can have little things like that that aren't a heavy lift because we're not trying to do 40 other things, right? So that's those bonus items, or if you will, are just one of the benefits of having more limited scope this year is we can take on it.
It's true. Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you very much to both of you and the whole team. I feel like much like the financial update, just knowing where we're at is very helpful. Especially because like we all, it's about, oh, what's happening with that thing? So it's always helpful to know. I really appreciate the work that goes into that. With that, let's move on to our final item of new business, which is the contract with BB&A for the environmental cleanup at 14th and Main, which again, this is a strategic plan priority for the year to remove the disused tanks and contaminants from that lot so that we can move ahead in the future with doing something more productive with it. And we have a low bid that is qualified, and we vote that. Chris, anything to?
Just the last paragraph is once we can get this work kind of scheduled and underway, I do want to, I'll work with the mayor and find in a work session or something that we can come back and talk about. What do we do with the project, right? What do we do with the property now that it's cleaned up? We've heard from the community, we've done studies on this. We've had consultants make recommendations, but you're in the city council, so let's talk about what you want to do with the property. The process for making that happen, more likely it's going to be some type of request for proposals from the public, private sector to come to us and say, yep, we'll do what you want us to do, or here's what it'll cost, et cetera, et cetera. So I think the cleanup's got to come first, but with the cleanup opens the invitation to start talking about what we're really going to do with this property for real.
Yeah. Because, correct me if I'm wrong, but when the cleanup is done, we'll just have a gravel lot. So we can do with that whatever we wish. So, yeah.
Kind of.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, we're using never renewal dollars, so we'll go into.
But it won't, right now, there's like the concrete pad, and then this part's gravel, and it's kind of all supposed to be a clean gravel plot.
So I'm just looking for a motion. Again, BB&A, as I noted, if you didn't catch it, they are the group that did the original phase one, phase two. They're very familiar with the project. I think that's probably why their bid came in a little bit lower, is because they got a better idea of what's there and what needs to get done, versus the others probably put some buffer in there because they don't know. So it'll probably help them, but this is a great group to work with. I've got no qualms. They're recognized statewide. They do great work, so.
What do I mean by, in page 49, 1.2, it says, it's highlighted in yellow, is assumed the client will pay tank registration fees. Could you explain what that is for the?
I think we've already paid them, but I'll check. So the state has a underground storage tank program. And for every underground storage tank, they have to be registered, and there's a fee that you pay, and then there's a fee that you pay when you decommission them. So they're minor. I mean, they're like in the hundreds of dollars, not the thousands of dollars.
Thank you.
Yep. And again, I think we've already paid that when we did the first round, which is why I think it's highlighted, because they weren't quite sure if we had or not. So we'll check it out. So there may be some other fairly minor fees that come along with this that we'll end up kicking in based on these assumptions, but they'll be minor. Counselor Salsa?
I move to direct the city manager to execute the agreement with BB&A Environmental for cleanup services and oversee the cleanup.
Yeah, he wants to use first.
Sorry about that. All right. It's been moved by Counselor Salsa, seconded by Counselor Caseman to direct the city manager to execute the agreement with BB&A Environmental for cleanup services. Is there any discussion on that motion? Counselor Andretti?
I just wanted to verify, so, there's no more of those DEQ funds, but we have urban renewal funds that are dedicated towards this. And is there any budgeted, or do we have any budget concerns about it? I don't know, I don't remember how much is budgeted.
The urban renewal, I think it's got $350,000, I think, in there. 360, and all of that money got budgeted for this year because we were going to put towards this and then whatever additional projects we want to do with it if we were to get to it. So we just put the full, because our total indebtedness, we're kind of getting there. But towards our total maximum indebtedness, I think it was 368. I don't think it's in the budget, but 368. It's $268,000.
Okay.
Is the number that comes to mind. So no, we've got plenty of money there budgeted for urban renewal projects, and this is an urban renewal project.
Okay. Cool.
And this contract says before the end of the year. So
Yeah, they're-
thinking.
Yep, they're gonna try to get us squeezed in and get it done. That's not a huge project for them, probably a week on site to get tanks out, and then another week. Might have some time go by, and then they'll come back a week and get it all filled and graded and all that, so.
Thank you.
Any other questions on the motion or discussion? Seeing none, but all those in favor, please raise your hand and say aye. Aye. Motion passes unanimously. That is the end of our new business, which brings us to our ordinances and resolutions, starting with resolution 2525, which we will correct the title of. This is proclaiming, or I don't know what we want it to be, honoring veterans?
It did say proclaiming Veterans Day
Okay.
before I wrote inclusivity and not Veterans Day.
Oh, the correct one's in here. Okay. So just pretend it says proclaiming Veterans Day. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna pull this out.
Well, also, there's something that didn't get incorporated in here from last year, from the October 28th, 2024 minutes. There was a 5-0 motion approval, where the language in the second whereas statement was changed from men and women to those, to make it gender neutral.
Honors those who have fought.
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, that was the version that was in the email.
Oh, no, you're good. I feel like we have a better system now of figuring out like where they all are
Yes.
in recent years. So
That's a little of a city manager across the country.
Okay, so, but everything else?
multiple versions.
Okay, so just to clarify, the version that we would perhaps like to vote on, Resolution 2525, the title is Veterans Day Proclamation, and then line 10 reads, whereas The federal holiday honors those who have fought and continue to fight to sustain our democracy. And those, we're gonna vote on that because we're just copying and pasting from last year. Unless if anyone would like to make a motion to change something. And if no one would, then someone else could make a motion to approve or adopt the resolution. Councilor Andrade?
I move to adopt resolution 25-25, a resolution Veterans Day proclamation.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilor Andrade and seconded by Councilor Irwin. No, that's okay. It's, yeah, not your fault. It's been moved by Councilor Andrade, seconded by Councilor Irwin to approve resolution 2525, Veterans Day proclamation. Is there any discussion on that motion, Councilor Andrade?
And I'll just note that this didn't go to the inclusivity committee beforehand only because of timing and such, but knowing that there weren't, there weren't substantial changes before, we felt like it was fine to bring it here for the council to review and such.
Thank you. Any other discussion on that motion? Okay, all those in favor of the motion, please raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The resolution 2525 is adopted unanimously. Who would like to read this? I didn't think.
Read it or sing it?
Oh,
Was there?
right, okay. At the request of our city manager, we will now have the resolution orally presented. And Crystal, take it away. Diane.
That's
That's what I bet.
I think it's a song there, so, right?
The new world. Seriously?
I like it.
We need like a flag waving graphic in the back, yeah. Probably.
Bye, Luma.
That was perfect right there. Yeah, we really.
Guy really needs to learn.
Yeah, we need to like train that or something. You know?
Funny.
Wow.
All right.
Lovely.
Well,
See what happens when you give your city manager 10 minutes?
Yes.
And it's
Yeah.
on the internet?
no.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for that. On a more solemn note, we are genuinely very grateful for the veterans of the community. As Councilor Crocker mentioned, middle school is doing their Veterans Day assembly.
7th on Friday at 8:10.
November, is
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
that would actually be November.
it? Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you very much. Then we can continue. Crystal, you're gonna give me a version to sign. All right, then that brings us to resolution 2526, a resolution proclaiming the denouncement of violence. And this was a idea that Councilor Caseman had to sort of have this resolution or proclamation come forward after various recent instances of sort of targeted political violence, to both sort of condemn that violence and then encourage sort of active civic engagement and participation to reduce the troubling trends towards, polarization and dehumanization. So, Councilor Casey, I don't know if you wanted to speak to your intent with this in more level.
Oh, no, I think you covered it.
Well, look at that.
Well said.
So, yes, any discussion on this resolution, Councilor Andrade?
Well, I think it is a good idea. Political violence is definitely something we don't want to include. But I would like to move that we table this. There's a lot of very dense, detailed thoughts. I just spent a lot of time thinking about it, and I would very much appreciate being able to formulate some better, or not, to better formulate what I'm thinking into revisions to suggest to the council.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, so I moved to,
Oh, sure.
do I move?
You're welcome to.
Or like, does it require a motion, right?
I mean, it can, yeah.
I
You
move
can also
to
just-
table, or
Okay.
if anyone wants to make it informal.
Well, I'll second that, so we can
Okay.
discuss.
Thank you.
I think I'm comfortable moving forward with this tonight, but I also, there's no real rush on this particular, it's not like there's denouncement of violence day coming up next week, so,
Or we don't have
right,
violence.
right, yeah, so I think I'm always, whenever possible, I'm always happy to give a counselor more time to consider something, but I'm open to thoughts.
And I guess since I brought it up, I could totally agree with that. So if you want more time, I support that.
Okay. Any further discussion on that motion? Do we want to?
Chris said I love the idea between inciting kindness and empathy and cooperation rather than promoting in what we see as can be a very violent time in outward, when we're watching the news and seeing what's going on in our society. Anything that can promote goodness and community volunteerism and openness and non-judgment, I think is a good thing.
I think there's a lot of good things in here. Face-to-face participation in the community. It's easy for people to get online and just get radicalized and not to see people as humans. So I think, as you said in here, the city of volunteers, let's get out there and volunteer and see people and help people. And food bank and actually help real people and when they're hurting. And it just makes us remember that we're all kind of the same. I loved a lot of this.
And then I just wanted to clarify because I had a little bit of difficulty trying to understand the intent, because it kind of goes back and forth between violence, physical violence, political violence, and I wasn't quite sure what the definitions were. There's some that are kind of implied, and so I was wondering, like, is it limited to a certain, like a narrower definition, or are we also talking about some of the larger kinds of systemic types of political violence? Is that the focus, or is just violence in general the focus? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
And when the mayor and I had a first conversation just by email, so there's only so much, we talked a little bit after that, but so in terms of what is the violence that we're talking about? I know there's some various definitions there. And so maybe when I did read this, kind of the final version that was put out, I maybe had some of those questions too. So maybe that's one of the things that we can continue to talk about. What do we mean by that exactly? Because I picked up on that as well too, where violence of any kind is detrimental, but physical violence, is there an intentional transition there between so something good to talk about. So I don't know either exactly how this was. We had a conversation about things. Can speech be violence? I recommended being maybe a little more clear on that and that type of thing, because I think if you say any type of speech is violence, then you can defend yourself with physical violence. So I think maybe there is space here to be a little more clear in what we're talking about. And maybe that's what can come out of this additional conversation. So I support this a lot to talk more.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
I think it's really good for us to take a stand with our country. There has been many instances of political violence. For us to say that's not okay and that's not going to happen here is a good thing for us to do, rather than just ignoring it and letting it go.
But I really appreciate pointing out kind of an additional onus that we have as leaders in the community, whether it be as elected officials or appointed officials, city staff, people that are driving city vehicles, officers, of course. We have an extra burden to set an example and to help set the tone. And so I appreciate that there's several comments in here about, public leaders being held to that standard, and then an open invitation to all residents, all city of Philomath as city of volunteers, all community members to seek for ways. And so I just appreciate that sentiment that it wasn't just, hey, everybody do this, but it was like the leaders are kind of being called out a little bit to help set the tone. And then everybody's expected to kind of help out. So I like that portion of it. Hopefully that doesn't get pulled out with further revisions because I like that. I thought it was important to note.
Any other discussion or questions? Seeing none, then as a reminder, the motion is to table. Did you want to put a date, like the table until, or?
Well, I guess, so if we want to talk about this informally, we could do that instead. But I would like guidance on like how to proceed because it sounds like there might, I mean, maybe I'm misunderstanding, but it sounded like there might be some additional like language. I don't know if this is worth like coming together, like a couple of us to talk about, or
It's like the three of us could maybe put our hands
Yeah, I
together.
think you take it back to a small committee and.
Sure. Let's not call it legally a committee.
yes.
Small group of
Table it.
dedicated citizens.
Table till next month.
Yeah.
Give you time to.
Just table until December 8th.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. With that, would all those in favor of the motion please raise your hand and say aye to table until December 8th?
Aye.
Is that it? Which?
It's a nay.
Okay.
Just do it, but if.
Okay, then the motion to table passes 6-1. Thank you very much. Then with that, we have our council reports. Anyone have any hot pressing topics from your liaison representative roles?
No, we talked about the trees and things like that, so
Yeah,
kudos again to the Public Works Department for getting the bike lanes done,
Yeah.
put in. That was extraordinary.
yeah. Councilor Andrade?
The retreat was fun.
Yay!
Thank you, Stefan. Chris had his great Ernie, right?
Pretty disappointed that I missed that.
Me too.
Put it on your calendar for next year.
For future reference, I want pictures of such things and,
Ernie, two blind mice, a giraffe. Councilor Andrade came in her giraffe costume, which was great. And we had two blind mice, which begged the question, what happened to the third blind mice? And they're like, mousetrap, science. Some of the kids are like, that's pretty fun. That's great.
Crystal's right next door in her bee outfit.
Well, so that was a fun report. I unfortunately am the COG board, which runs a lot of federally funded social services. So not a fun update. I think my last update was that they felt like they were able to cover a lot of their services with the anticipation of being reimbursed once the federal shutdown ended. Need I say more?
No.
Since that seems to not be in sight, they are getting pretty worried. I think they don't feel yet like they're at the point where they'll need to do any layoffs or furloughs or anything. They have contingency plans if they will need to do that, but it may soon get to the point where it will start impacting service delivery. That I think is a bigger concern because they do a lot of programs that directly service very vulnerable members of the community. And then I think something that stuck with me from that meeting that just like I could talk for a long time about my thoughts on was all of the sort of fallout from that, just in terms of coming up with like safety plans for staff who are in the front lobbies, because they're anticipating that people will probably get more desperate and start acting more irrationally when they come in for services. So having additional sort of security and plans for support of both of the people coming in as well as the staff who have to deal with that So it's not good out there. And I know we've talked a lot about that, but I hope we all, continue to kind of keep that front and center, that this is not just some political game. This really is affecting people right in our neighborhoods. So apart from that, they got a new logo. And yeah, the other sort of agency operations are going okay, but I just think they are becoming increasingly concerned about the amount of their funded programs. So there's that, and then I don't have a ton of updates from the school district or the fire district because I haven't met since our last meeting. But Councilor Crocker?
I'm a liaison to PCS, and they are obviously affected greatly, some of the federal cuts, but there's been a great few of our members here were in a video, and that has apparently made a big difference. The community's great. They have come out and supported the food bank and the Gleaners, and they have either with money or donations of food, and I'm proud of Philomath for that. I'm also with the senior group, just to report, we had a Medicare session in here with a specialist from right here in Philomath, Renee Mulberry. And we had about 45 people attend. It was great. And I learned a lot. It was great. And then we had a game night at Fitness Over 50. Fitness Over 50 was great. They said they want to support us any way they can. They've got a little lounge area with couches and a pool table and all kinds of games. Not a great turnout. We had about 10 people, I think, and we did play some games and we had some fun. Plus, we also learned a little bit about Fitness Over 50, so that was good. But we've got the Maxivity thing on December 2nd, and 1 week later, we're going to the fire department to learn how to run a fire extinguisher. And we've got a guy from Bashful Bob's coming to talk about safety and locks on doors and whatnot at that same time. So we've actually got several other meetings planned. January is going to be a puzzle exchange, and February, the Benton County Sheriff's Department is coming to talk about safety. So it's all good.
Wonderful. Yes, please.
I'm not sure, are you gonna talk about Dia de los Muertos?
I didn't go.
Okay. Benton County Historical Society needs a real cheer from us as far as a multicultural event called Dia de los Muertos, encouraging family history and celebrating the Day of the Dead, which is a really fun Mexican holiday, and they did just a phenomenal job. I was so impressed and wanting to reach out and celebrate another heritage, another culture. That was a very, very good thing. And other things. And I can't think of any other committees as currently, other than we are putting it out there for the public, is on December 6th, we'll have a community service day. December 6th will be focused on lunches for actually it's weekend meals is what it's called. We're doing weekend meal kits for the elementary and middle school kids. Assembling those in Corvallis on December 6th in the afternoon, and also assembling hygiene kits for, I can't remember the group now, but it's hygiene kits for one of the drop-in day centers, and then blankets for Jackson Street, police blankets, and that'll all be done that Saturday, December 6th in Corvallis on Harrison Boulevard. And so good things.
Any other council reports? I was just looking at you because I wasn't like.
No, I know. I don't think that Either that or I somehow got off the mailing list or something. That's, I was actually looking at it, to make sure, but I think the community foundation kind of has like a congested block of like rapid meetings, and then once they do the scholarship stuff, they lay off for a little while. I can't think of anything else. But, okay.
Can I just say one other thing real quick? There are a lot of a lot of us that are real concerned with the needs and food insecurity currently that may be coming upon us. And I think this is a chance to look for ways that we each individually can be of service. There are lots of social media, that grocery buddy thing, have you heard of that one? There's lots of ways that we can be of help in helping our neighbors and our communities make it through these difficult times. And I would encourage us all to really soul search where we can individually be of help, face to face, knowing, letting people know that we are there and we can help them in whatever ways we can.
And I have a thought to go along with that, is that you cannot help everybody, nobody can. But if you help one person, that is life-changing for that one person. So
Yeah.
we may not be wealthy, but we can go help one person find food for a month.
Absolutely.
Well, I will second that motion. I think if it's okay with the council and Chris, I think maybe we can skip our management report just because I feel like
There's nothing that new in there. I gotta look through it. If anybody has any questions.
I do have one question though. The line 1 on the second page, it says working with new vendors to implement new released applicant testing software. Is that different from the evidence stuff? Like, what is that? Because I don't remember.
Yeah, so we, it was actually first listed our last open position. I do a lot of searches. What are they saying to people who want to be police officers now? Because they change messaging a lot, and found this system that almost every agency was using for to complete the testing requirements. And so we have Chief Gursky actually is implementing that program, just because right now we have a pretty archaic system of paper testing, proctoring, and this is a system that allows people to not have to come in. If they've just recently done it, they can use that test kind of for different places. So we're just standardizing, coming up to what other agencies are doing, making ourselves more attractive to apply.
An initial test say that they are qualified to move on.
To move on through the process.
Okay, cool.
Right. Yep.
Totally read this now. Like, you know.
anything else on the management report? Okay, then that's all we have on our normal agenda. I think if the council's fine with it, we will we'll recess for like 5 minutes, maybe just give people, yeah, okay. And then we'll start our executive session at 9:15.